for migration's voluntary deportation program.
The move comes just days after the Nigerian foreign minister visited Libya. The Nigerian government has started flights to evacuate thousands of its citizens from Libya. The government says the evacuations will continue until all those wanting to return home have done so. Dozens of migrants are being held in different detention centres across northwestern Libya.
The IOM has in recent months accelerated a voluntary returns program to repatriate migrants from a number of countries. Nigeria now joins Niger in organizing bilateral returns. Now, for an update on this rolling story, we're now joined by Nigerian correspondent Sophia Adengo, live from the capital, Abuja. Sophia, thanks very much for joining us. This movement of people from Libya, Nigerians, I'm told that the total number could be as many as 5,000, but we've seen 1,000 move just in the last 2 days.
Yes, that is about the number. The repatriation process was reiterated by President Muhammadu Buhari really in December of 2017 as a response from the United Nations High Commission for Refugees that raised an alarm of the number of refugees, especially from Nigeria. The number tends to increase as you go towards Libya and into Italy. It's estimated that 25,000 Nigerians have crossed over into Italy in vulnerable conditions, many of them unaccompanied, separated from their children, and in very difficult and illegal means. It is now the Nigerian government's response really to reports of sexual abuse, torture, extortion by smugglers and criminal gangs that has spawned the repatriation effort in Libya. And the Nigerian government, especially President Muhammadu Buhari, said he would do everything to provide the means by which many of these Nigerian nationals will be evacuated, and it's working very closely with the Libyan government. There was what they called the National Migration Dialogue held in Abuja just this week to really fill out the policies and the actionable proposals, as he put it, that would improve responses to the end of this mass migration.
The refugees that are returning, is this something that they want? I'm told that some of the conditions that they've been staying in these refugee centres have been quite challenging as well.
That is correct. Although the Nigerian government is pushing for the voluntary return of migrants, migrants have themselves within these vulnerable communities expressed a sense of vulnerability really in these transit nations. Libya, of course, the numbers of human rights violations were alarming towards the end of 2017. In 2018, the Nigerian government is hoping to turn over a new leaf and respond to some of these conditions, especially within the detention camps, and reaching out to the Libyan government for accountability for these alleged acts of violence and abuse towards these migrants. And also the Nigerian government stepping up their message internally here in Nigeria, really saying that this illegal migration is really not worth it, and that if there are citizens looking for a better life, they can find it here in Nigeria. The idea that something better is promising in Europe or in another part of the country needs to be really reassessed. These Mediterranean routes have again proved that they have been dangerous, and a number of Nigerian migrants have died along these routes, in mass numbers. And so the Nigerian government is pushing its citizens to really recognize the dangers involved in this mass migration, along with the arrival in these transit nations like Libya and the conditions that they're likely to face if they do take these actions.
So when they come home, what happens to them? How are they being received? And what's the plan that government has for these? And it's going to be quite a lot of returning refugees.
That is correct. Well, the Nigerian government is working with the European Union, also working with the International Organization for Migration and many other international and local bodies that really help with this reintegration process. There are a number of steps being taken, not only in documenting those who have arrived, but also listening to their first-hand accounts of these journeys and really learning from these migrants and what propels these journeys, regardless of the, the seriousness and really the harm that is involved in moving illegally to these countries. And so there is a policy, there is a first-hand, of course, account from these migrants and also respond.
All right, Sophia, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks very, very much indeed for giving us that update. So there you have 1,000 refugees returning, Nigerian refugees returning from Libya just in the last 2 days. And it could be as many as 5,000 once this particular round of operation is complete. All trying to get to Europe for a better life, as it were. But they're trying to reverse those numbers and encourage Nigerians to stay at home and come back from what looks like very difficult conditions. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll try and get a bit more clarity on this free tertiary education at the universities.